Subscribe and click the notification bell to stay updated with the latest videos from School of Technology, Management and Engineering, NMIMS Indore.
Now, without further ado, we will now begin our session on emerging need for cybersecurity by our session experts for today, Mr. Agyeya and Ms. Anshi Jain, students of BTech CSBS 4th year STME and NMIMS Indore. Hope you all enjoyed the session. Over to you, Agyeya and Anshi.
Hello everyone, good evening and a warm welcome on joining us today for this session. Today's session is all about emerging needs for cybersecurity. And I, Anshi Jain, with my companion Agyeya, is here as your session experts today. We are here to throw some light and give you a brief on the need of cybersecurity in our IT industries. With this, let's not waste the time and commence with this session.
So our session flow would be like this. We'll commence with the need of cybersecurity, then we'll have some live demonstration of cybersecurity tools, followed by the introduction to the blockchain technology and live demo of penetration testing. After this, we'll have a short discussion on ethical hacking and very importantly, we'll be discussing the career options and its scope in cybersecurity.
So let's begin with the need of cybersecurity in IT domain. Cybersecurity is the practice of protecting critical systems and sensitive information from digital attacks. So in simple words, we can understand that cybersecurity is the protection of computer system and networks from the information disclosure, theft, damage to the hardware as well as software or electronic data. Now, cybersecurity is of 5 types. The very first is critical infrastructures. It includes those physical and cyber-based systems essential to the minimum operations of economy and government, like electricity, traffic lights, hospitals, etc. Next is the network security. It is the set of rules and configurations that are designed to protect the integrity, confidentiality, accessibility of computer networks and data using both software as well as hardware technologies. The third one is cloud security. It refers to a broad set of policies, technologies, applications, and controls utilized to protect virtualized IP, data, application, services, and the associated infrastructure of the cloud computing. With this, fourth one is the application security. It is the process of developing, adding, and testing security features within the application to prevent security vulnerabilities against threats such as unauthorized access and modification. And at last, we have Internet of Things. So security in IoT is the act of securing internet devices and the networks they are connected to from threats and breaches by protecting, identifying, and monitoring all the risks.
So according to the statistics, in 2013, 3 billion accounts were breached of Yahoo and the data was compromised. In 2018, 1.1 billion accounts of Aadhaar were breached and data was lost. Whereas in 2020, 10.88 billion Camphor accounts were compromised. So there is a continuous rise in the data breaching over a decade as world, and data is getting online. So it's considered as websites, companies, or applications' responsibility to protect their users' data and keep it safe from getting breached. And that's where cybersecurity comes into the role. In order to provide security to our online database and personal information, we need cybersecurity. By 2021, global cybercrime damage has increased so much that companies and users altogether face loss of millions and billions of dollars by 2021. We were facing the loss of 16.4 billion per day, $84.9 million per hour, $11 million per minute, and $190,000 even per second. And this is statistics increasing uncontrollably. As cyber criminals attack our system and data through various varieties of malwares, which they insert in our system, very smartly by sending us spam mails, anonymous links, images, and many more, which slowly takes control of our system and sends our data to criminal, and this loop can be stopped only when our country will have a cybersecurity specialist force and when citizens will be aware of these crimes. Now, as we can see, with the growth in cyber crimes, people are also getting aware of these crimes. Even IT companies are becoming more aware now and they are taking all possible precautions to keep their data, private data safe, as well as users' data safe from theft, for which they are actively hiring cybersecurity experts to manage the security and vulnerabilities of their system. So ultimately, awareness about cybersecurity is increasing globally and also scope in the field is at the boom. In the first graph, we can visualize the continuous increase in the percentage of organization whose data is being compromised at least once by a successful attack. As in 2014, it was 61.9%, which increased up to 86.2% in 2021. In the second graph, we can clearly see the distribution of expenditure made by government in different sectors like telecommunication, banking, resource, industries on their cybersecurity so that their data can be safe.
Today we are using cybersecurity much more in compared to past 2 years. And also after 2 years from now compared to today, we will be using cybersecurity much more. So in all statistics are also in favor of continuously rising priority of cybersecurity.
So here comes a fact about the most cyber secure countries in the world. And worldwide, Netherlands is the less cyber secure country with the vulnerability score of 10.82, and Denmark is the most cyber secure country with the vulnerability score of 6.72. For the fact, in the whole world, Tajikistan is the least cyber secure country. All countries are assessed on the basis of cyber attack vulnerability score. These vulnerability score is found how much data in the country is secure, how much banking transactions are secure, and much more services are assessed to find the vulnerability score of the particular country.
Now let's move towards something interesting. Let's begin with the live demonstration of some of the cybersecurity tools. Now you all have to be part of this live demo. You also have to perform this together with us. The link for each tool will be shared to you in the chat box as soon as we will begin with that. So the first tool is ipconfig. Its link is being shared to you in the chat box. Everyone, please click that link. Now you will see such a screen. So we will wait for a minute for everyone to reach to this place. So here in this box, you have to type your IP address. You can also fill it automatically by clicking your IP option below like this. And as soon as you press enter, it will show the exact location and region of your device. So this tool is basically used to find location of device from its IP address. Now our second tool is Have I Been Pwned? So you simply have to go to the link shared to you in the chat box. Then you will see such a screen. So again, we will wait for a minute for everyone to reach to this page. In this box, you have to either type your mobile number or email ID. Then after this, you have to click on pawn button on the right side of your screen. Now, if your mobile number or email ID is being breached even once, then you will see a red mark along with all the information that when and where your data was breached. And if your data has never been compromised and it is completely safe till the date, then you will see a green mark. So basically, this tool is to check that whether your data has ever been breached or not. Hope you guys did this along with us. Now moving to our next tool, that is Security Center Sonic World. Its link is being shared to you in the chat box. Simply click that link and you will reach to this page. So this is a worldwide live attack map which shows top attack origins, targets, attack type, IP addresses, and the important statistics which a hacker or a cybersecurity professional need to know.
So, let's begin with the introduction to the blockchain technology. Blockchain is one of the form of storing information that prevents anyone from changing, hacking, or cheating it. Blockchain technology is basically a structure that stores transactional records, also known as block, in several databases known as chain. So, in simple words, block is something which stores data, and chain is the database, which connects all the data blocks together. And to access these blocks of data, we need to know the code to decrypt that chain and access the block. Now, let's take an example of a bank transaction to see how blockchain technology works. So, very first, the participant network requests for the transaction. Now, the request is broadcasted to other computers in the network. Now, the broadcasted nodes will validate the request from the respective bank. Once verified, the network record will be created as a new block of data. The new block of data will be combined with the other previous transactions in the record. And this is how the transaction is completed. This is how the blockchain technology works.
Now, moving towards an interesting activity that is a live demo of penetration testing. Penetration test is also known as authorized simulated attack, which is performed on computer system to evaluate its security. Testers use the same tool, techniques, and processes as attackers to find and demonstrate the business impact of weaknesses in a system. Let's have a look on the stages of penetration testing. So step 1 is planning. Here the goal of testing is defined and all the intelligence is gathered. In the second step, we do scanning. Here, the scanning tools are used to understand how a target responds to the intrusions. The third step is gaining access, where web application attacks are stacked to identify target vulnerabilities. The fourth step is maintaining access. It is advanced package tool that are imitated to see if a vulnerability can be used to maintain access. And at last, we have analysis and web application firewall configuration, that is WAF. In this, test goals are defined and intelligence is gathered. Now it's time to see the live demonstration of penetration testing. The actual penetration testing is performed via Kali Linux operating system. But for an overview of penetration testing, we can also use few websites which perform online scanning to find the possible loopholes and vulnerabilities of a website and give us an instant detailed report on it. Today, here we are going to use one of such websites and we are not going to share the link with you because before scanning any website, you need to have permission from website owner. Otherwise, it will be considered as a cyber crime. So here, we are scanning our NMIMS website. We simply have to enter the website URL and submit it. And after a few minutes, it will provide us the detailed report on the website security loopholes. So we already have one of the downloaded report for you. As you can see, it provides a detailed report of all the possible loopholes, vulnerabilities, and weaknesses of the website, that too with a detailed bifurcation, which can be considered as a primary pen testing report. Now, Agyeya will give you an overview of this report.
So here is the first report that we receive on our mail IDs once we make account in the OWASP, the site through which we are doing the pen testing. So here is the scan summary. As you can see here, all the website on which we are scanning, all the addresses are mentioned and the host names are also mentioned. Here are different ports are also mentioned through which the scanning is done. As we can see, here is the address is also mentioned, which is IPv4, and another address also comes, that is IPv6. So here is the second report. As we can see, it is mentioned, is it light scan or a full scan? So here different types of vulnerabilities are also mentioned, as like, for example, website fingerprinting, version-based vulnerability detection, common configuration issues, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, local remote file inclusion, remote command execution, and discovery of sensitive files. So here is the risk level is mentioned. It is mentioned as medium, and different colors represent the risk level. So here are the findings which are mentioned. Directory listing is enabled. And here is also risk description, recommendation, references, and also the classification is also mentioned. And here is also the screenshot of the website is mentioned, through which the report can be assessed easily. Now here are the vulnerabilities found for the server-side software. So these vulnerabilities can be assessed by the cybersecurity expert only, because they have the knowledge which kind of vulnerabilities and what can be the solution for the respective vulnerabilities are. Also here the risk description, recommendation, classification is mentioned. Now here is mentioned that it is missing the security header, and which security header is missing, that also mentioned here. For the every vulnerabilities, the description is mentioned, as respective the recommendation is also mentioned. Now here comes the server software and technology found, which software and version was used in the website. It's mentioned here. And for that, if any website or the version of the software is not updated, that is also mentioned. So here is security.txt file, which is missing. That should be present in every website. So here are the green flags, means these vulnerabilities have not found in the website. And here are the list of tests performed. That is also mentioned. So here comes the third report, which is received on the mail. So here is the result overview. These are the results per host. As you can see here, a Trojan horse has been found in the website. Trojan horse is basically a virus which transmits the information from the host to the server, who is imported the Trojan horse, and these data is transmitted without knowing the host server. So this is the most vulnerable we have the OWASP scan is found in. So here is the solution for that, and the vulnerability detection method is also mentioned. So here are some of the vulnerabilities that are low, but it's also mentioned here. These are the summary vulnerability detection result, and the impact of those vulnerabilities also mentioned, as well as solution is also mentioned to clear out the vulnerabilities, and also the effective software is mentioned. Also vulnerability insights are mentioned, and vulnerability detection method as well. So here are some of the ports are also, all the ports are mentioned through which the scanning is done. This is the main report, that ZAP scanning report. Here is risk level is mentioned, and which all are the alerts. So let's say there is, the first one is absence of anti-CSRF tokens. These CSRF tokens are basically in how much time a customer can log out the site. So is it that happening or not? So that is absent in this website. And here are all the details of the URL, the method, parameter, attack, and the evidence which was found. And here is the mentioned respective solution for that. And here is missing anti-clickjacking header. And all the details are mentioned, which headers is missing. Then comes the vulnerable JS library. That should be the version of the JS library is not updated. Then these are low risk description. Here are all the details of those risk description. So that's all from the penetration testing. So let's start with an interesting topic, ethical hacking. Ethical hacking is hacking performed by the company or individual to identify potential threats on a computer or a network. Goals of ethical hacking include determining loopholes and vulnerabilities, evaluating quantitative matrices of system and networks, determining risk to the organization, and designing mitigation control.
Now, another interesting fact for you is that mostly hackers use out-of-date version to launch attack because it cannot be easily tracked. And 99% of computers are vulnerable to exploitation as they are not updated time to time to their recent version. So keep your OS updated to avoid any kind of threat and attacks. Now, hackers are of six types. The very first is white hat hacker. These are also known as ethical hackers, and they use hacking skills to identify security vulnerabilities in hardware, software, or network under the owner's consent. The next one is gray hat hacker. They are computer hackers or computer security expert who may sometimes violate laws or typical ethical standard, but usually does not have the malicious intent typically of a black hat hacker. The next one is the black hat hacker. They are hacker who violates computer security and who violates computer security laws for their own benefit. The next one is the blue hat hacker. The blue hat hacker are someone outside the computer security consulting firms who bug test a system prior to its launch, looking for the exploits so they can be closed. The fifth one is the green hat hacker. They are the newest kid on the block who are just starting to learn the craft. As has been said, they don't intentionally want to cause harm but may do so. And since they don't know much about hacking, they may also not be able to fix the damage they caused. And the last one we have red hat hackers. They are hired by government agencies to spot vulnerabilities in security systems with a specific focus of finding and disarming black hat hackers.
So now, let's talk about something very important, that is career options in cybersecurity. We have total 8 career paths in cybersecurity. The first is cybersecurity analyst. Cybersecurity analyst is primarily responsible for protecting a company's network systems from cyber attacks. This involves researching upcoming IT trends, creating contingency plans, reviewing suspicious attacks. This involves researching upcoming IT trends, activities, reporting security breaches, and educating the rest of the company on security measures. The second is cybersecurity architect. Cybersecurity architect is responsible for designing, creating, and maintaining the security system within an organization's IT network, including the computer systems and data. In other words, they are go-to person, the one in charge in the area of cybersecurity. And the third one is security software developers. Security software developers assesses users' needs before designing software, using their assessments as a guide when testing applications and programs. These professionals integrate programming techniques, design concepts, and knowledge of software exploitation in designs. Now, the next is crypto analysts. Crypto analysts are the code breakers. As a crypto analyst, you are responsible for analyzing hidden messages by decoding or decrypting data, even without the encryption key. Then the fifth one is security engineers. Security engineers or information security engineers occupy a technical role inside a company or the organization. It is the primary job to implement and monitor computer and network security protocols to protect sensitive information from hacks or theft. Now the next one is security administrator. Security administrator is the point person for the cybersecurity team. They are typically responsible for installing, administering, and troubleshooting an organization's security solutions. They also write up security policies and training documents about security procedures for colleagues. Now, the seventh one is cryptographer. Cryptographer is someone who writes or the encryption code used for data security. Computer encrypted data uses exceptionally long advanced encryption algorithm that are incredibly hard and the time consuming for people to break. Now the last one is cybersecurity consultant. Cybersecurity consultant doesn't work for one company exclusively, but rather is hired by a client to test the organization's cybersecurity measures and then design and implement a better defense.
So this was all for today's session. We hope it was informative, and now we are open for the queries if any. Thank you so much everyone.
Thank you, everyone. The link of the feedback form is floated in the chat box. Kindly fill the feedback form before leaving the session, as certificate will be provided on the basis of submission of these forms only. The link for the registration form for the next session is also shared in the chat box. Finally, I would like to thank our Director, Dr. Prachi Garfure, as well as our Associate Dean, STME, Dr. Akhil Banglowala, for presenting us with this chance. The faculty team for the Sunday Tech series for their continual assistance, the session experts, and the organizing team for making it happen. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day ahead.